is coming from direct flights from majority Muslim countries.
They certainly did, and that's what local authorities or U.S. authorities are focusing on here, those laptops from those majority Muslim countries being banned from certain airports on flights into the United States. This is an entirely different kind of attack. If it turns out to be a terrorist attack, as Alex said, it's very crude. Apparently, so far, there is only one person involved that we know of. But whether there are others is what they're addressing right now. That's why that area is on lockdown, and they continue to bring in ambulances and other authorities.
Again, the British Parliament on lockdown. Thank you, Martha Raddatz. The British Prime Minister has been taken to a secure location, a terrorist attack, being treated as a terrorist attack in London this morning, about 5 hours ago. At least 5 people seen injured so far. That number could climb as well. It appears, according to police reports, that the assailant has been killed inside the grounds of Parliament. We're going to stay on top of this all day long, and we'll be back with special reports as we get more information. I'm George Stephanopoulos in New York.
This has been a special report from ABC News.
Sealed off, but great confusion here. We still have an immense amount of police vehicles coming and going, helicopters overhead. This is very tense and major incident scene, I would say.
That's Marcus Wilford in London right now. Brad Garrett is a former FBI special agent. He's an ABC News contributor. And Brad, as we continue to hear the sirens unfolding around the Houses of Parliament, what do we know about how local law enforcement is getting their information right now? How are they able to actually ascertain what happened? Because we're all seeing it, of course, from tweets and eyewitness accounts.
Well, that's right. And, you know, the real key is two things: eyewitnesses and cameras. So between the two, they should at least have a feel as to what they have. I think the concern, obviously, when you have an event where it would appear this is contained, but you don't know that. You don't know what this guy did prior to the incident starting. And so the real key is to be able to neutralize all these locations from any other possible attack.
And Brad, you could probably speak to this better than I could, but I've been told that London, one of the most surveilled places in the world, that England has really embraced camera surveillance, CCTV all over the place. It seems likely that any suspect going into that area, there would be a trail of eyes on him from far away.
I think there's no question about that, but you know, it still takes time to go back and look at all that. So as you point him out, or as they point him out in surveillance of wherever he's picked up, you know, you're going to want to timeline it along the way. Does he stop? Does he pick someone up? Does he have a conversation? Where does he park the car if he does? All of those things, you're going to try to do a frame by frame of his movements from wherever they picked him up to as the incident started, and from one incident to the other. That type of thing. It's going to be the real key.
Can you tell us about protecting some of these lawmakers that were in the building inside Parliament? Some of this have apparently said they heard gunshots. They were somewhat near the entrance where a man with a knife came up who was eventually apparently shot down. What would be done to protect those sorts of people in the interim as law enforcement continues to figure out just what happened?
It's to move them to a location where nobody has ready access to them. So, obviously these buildings they're in are old, but I'm sure they have subterranean components to them. You move them to a place that's secure, that nobody can get to them, and, where they're comfortable. But it sort of makes them off limits to any other potential bad guy.
We are learning right now that Prime Minister Theresa May was at Parliament at the time of the what appears to be an attack. She was brought back to Downing Street, where the Prime Minister resides, so she is safe. Right now, though, the House of Commons, all those staffers, those lawmakers right now being held inside that building is locked down. Right now, our partners at the BBC continue to seek out eyewitnesses. They just spoke to Martin Pierce. Let's listen in.
Well, I was down at Lambeth Bridge, and all of a sudden I could hear all the ambulance and police going towards that way, and I was like, well, something's happened, so I'll go have a look. And as I was walking up to the bridge where it all happened, there was a gentleman, I don't know if he had jumped over the side to avoid this person, but he was being looked after by some ambulance crews. And as I walked up the bridge onto the bridge where it happened, there was a lady in a pool of her own blood, just against some postcards There was another lady next to her who was injured. And as I looked towards Big Ben, there was a lady in the road. There was about 3 people sitting up against the bridge being looked after. And, you know, it's something you just don't expect to see in London. It's quite shocking, actually.
Can you just describe the reaction to it by the security services, the police? How quickly were they there?
Well, it took me 5 minutes to walk down from when it all started, and there was some police around, but as soon as there was more of them there, they just got everyone back as quickly as possible. But it was just surprising how, you know, you could have just walked onto the bridge and, you know, you see all that. But
you'll forgive me for saying you still sound quite shaky. This was just a normal day.
Yeah, sorry. You got me at it now. Yeah, you don't